In bass fishing, there are no guarantees. But just as sure as the sun will come up over Lake Murray in South Carolina, the odds are tilted in favor of a super successful bassin day on the water. This 50,000-acre reservoir, located just minutes from the growing Columbia metropolitan area, is a bass factory. 20-pound-plus tournament limits are routine. 4, 5, and 6-pound largemouth bass are seemingly cranked off an assembly line. The proof is in the creel. Lake Murray is for real. The time is mid-May, usually a tough challenge. Post-spawn can be a bitter-sweet pill for bassers. Typically, following the spawn, bass are difficult to find and interest in striking a lure. However, more than one fish-catching pattern is working on Lake Murray. Besides flipping a small plastic worm around boat docks, topwater lure presentations are producing bites. Buzz baits skimmed along the grass and flooded bushes, or a bright-colored floating plastic worm can trigger a largemouth to strike. Or, if you like, pitch a plastic crawworm or Texas-rigged worm in the bushes along the banks of the many creeks and tributaries that encompass Murray's 525 miles of shoreline. There are plenty of spots to fish, but some Bassmasters just don't like folks around. This morning, our Bassmasters TV cameras are following Texas pro Alton Jones of Waco. Yesterday, in the opening round of the $291,000 Bassmaster BP Top 100 tournament here, Alton weighed in a 7 bass limit and 22 pounds 5 ounces. He's only 7 ounces out of the top spot. His secret hole is located way up the Saluda River, the main tributary. There's not much chance he's going to have company. That logjam is like a security gate with a Doberman for a gatekeeper.
This little slough isn't on the map. And from one of the other sloughs I was fishing, I looked through a patch of trees and I could see an opening where it opened back up into water there, but I couldn't find any way in there. So I was bound to determine if I had to get a saw and cut down willow trees and dig me a ditch, I was going to figure out a way in here. Sure should have. There he is right there, though. This way, I got him. Watch out, I'm slinging him. Big, but I'll take him.
On the lower end of the lake, tournament leader Jay Yellis, another Texas-based pro, has his hands full. He's hooked a lunker largemouth on 8-pound test line. Yesterday, Jay caught 22 pounds 12 ounces fishing deep over a submerged grass bed. But today, no bass in the grass. He switched to a floating worm around backbrush in the creeks. The Jasper, Texas pro's strong suit is his versatility. Chet Dothett, in 5th place yesterday, weighed in 20 pounds 12 ounces. His success is coming on a 4-inch plastic ringworm pitched around boat docks and piers back in a large creek. The bass moved from nearby spawning coves to deeper water around the docks. Chet's working on a 16-pound-plus limit today. And Jay Yellis has boated his 7 bass tournament limit. But for Alton Jones, it's been a day of missed opportunities. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters will be right back with more action in the South Carolina Bassmaster BP Top 100 at Lake Murray. There are some big bags of bass to be brought in. Post-spawn or not, the fishing is hot. Day 2 and a wet, soggy weigh-in for the South Carolina Bassmaster BP Top 100. But rain fails to dampen the spirits of the Columbia Area Tournament Trail fans.
Stanley Mitchell, folks of Georgia, a 21-pound creel yesterday, held him in 3rd place today, 7 bass in the weight. Puts you in the lead, 16 pounds, 5 ounces. Let's give him a nice hand.
Stanley Mitchell jumps into the lead with a 2-day score of 38 pounds. But here's the bragging bag folks came to see.
I tell you one thing, folks, they look like a sack of potatoes. They're so tightly packed. Watch the Creole. 23 pounds, 7 ounces. There's your leader, folks, Mike Lanier. Boy, that's a tremendous job. Reach in here and hold a couple of these bigger bass and show the people. Folks, these are remarkable bass. He put the lure the right place at the right time, and this is what the result is. Now, these are big. You got big fish in the area. Did you miss any big fish today?
I had a couple of fish in the 4-pound class come up on it, and, you know, they missed them, so.
What do you mean? When you say they came up on it, does that mean you're fishing a buzzbait?
I wouldn't say I'm fishing a buzzbait. I'm fishing a bait.
No fish comes up on anything but a topwater affair.
With 38 pounds in 2 days, young Mike Lanier, a Leland, North Carolina pro, is the midway co-leader with Stanley Mitchell. But 3 dead fish and penalty points cost Mike 6 ounces and the outright lead. Chet Dothan of Florida, Guido Hibden of Missouri, and Kim Stricker of Michigan are all within a pound of the top spot. He may have let it slip at the weigh-in. Mike Lanier's fishing a surface lure all right, but it's no buzzbait. The bass are biting a floating worm, rigged Texas style with a light wire hook. Stanley Mitchell is following suit, also with a floating worm. But he opts for a bright pink, a bubblegum-colored plastic wiggler. And this morning, the bass are chewing it up. A floating worm jerked along shallow water bushes is Kim Stricker's pattern, too. The Howell, Michigan pro started this morning in 5th place, only 1 pound behind the leaders, and he's catching up.
Back reel, Kim. That's it. Don't do that to me.
Just fishing
The
a lot
retrieve is the key to Mike Lanier's floating worm presentation.
slower. I'm probably fishing a lot slower. And a lot of people want to jerk it back in almost like it's similar to a zero scoop, just walking it back. But I'm twitching it one time and then letting it kind of settle.
Kim Stricker is alternating between the floating worm and an inline buzzbait, an old Herb's Dilly he got 15 years ago in a BASS renewal membership lure packet.
Stay on her, darling. That's a good fish. Oh, stay on, darling. Yes. Yes. Herb's Dilly.
Hooking a bass on a floating worm rigged with an embedded hook point can be tricky. Stanley Mitchell offers a suggestion.
What I've been doing is whenever I see one come up there, I make sure the whole worm's gone. You know, I can't see the worm at all. And it'll be gone in the fish's mouth, and that's whenever I set back on it. Because I've had a lot of them. Every now and then I get too quick, I just see them roll on it, and they won't be had it good. But what I try to do is when I see him come to it, I try to watch the whole worm disappear before I set the hook.
With the overcast conditions, Kim Stricker is going more to his topwater buzzbait, the old Herb's Dilly. It's an inline prop bait, probably not found in many modern-day bassers' tackle boxes, but it still calls up the bass. Just catching keeper bass won't make the money in this tournament. Stanley Mitchell's got another 7 bass limit, but he wants a big bite.
Hang on, Doc.
Thank you, Lord.
Up for grabs in the Pro Division is a $46,000 first place award. The top 100 pros on the BASS Trail are paired with amateur partners who fish the back seat and used water. But on Lake Murray, that's not a handicap. There are plenty of targets and fish. David Hudson of Alabama ranks 4th in the amateur standings and had a top draw today. Tournament co-leader Mike Lanier shared the boat and water with David, who looks like a contender for the amateur honors, a fully rigged $19,000 Ranger bass boat. Don't go away. The Bassmasters will be right back with Day 3 results and some big surprises. This South Carolina Bassmaster BP Top 100 is taking on record-setting proportions. For 2 days, Zell Rowland's name has not graced the top 10 leaderboard. But move over, boys. Here comes Zell with a load.
Watch the scale. 24 pounds, 10 ounces, 11 ounces it is. 24 pounds, 11 ounces.
I caught everything that bit.
And Michigan's Kim Stricker is going to move up from 5th place.
Watch out now. 22 pounds, 4 ounces. Hold it. 5 ounces, 22 pounds, 5 ounces.
But this party is far from over. Turn up the lights. David Wharton, the defending champion, has almost been a forgotten angler. Not even listed among the top 25.
30 pounds, 11 ounces when he began this morning. This may be the big weight of the tournament, folks. 27 pounds! You're about 1 pound and 6 ounces off the lead. Now, what's going to happen tomorrow?
Well, I've got 3 totally different patterns to fish, so I really don't care what the weather does. I can catch them any way. So.
You cocky, now. You really feel confident. Confident.
I guess so. I don't want to be that way. But I've got, if the sun comes out and wind blows, I can catch them. If it's cloudy, I can catch them up shallow. So I feel pretty confident.
What a weigh-in. The top 5 leaders all score over 20-pound catches today. Kim Stricker clings to first with a 12-ounce advantage over former world champion Stanley Mitchell. Mike Lanier is third, but there's a problem. His 20-pound 1-ounce catch is disqualified. Too many bass in possession in the live well. A heartbreaking mistake. David Wharton, Zell Rowland, and Guido Hibden crowd the leaders. Day 4, final round of the $291,000 Bassmaster BP Top 100. Clear, bright, still conditions. Ideal weather for fishing deep. The shallow water patterns may be hurt today. Defending tournament champion David Wharton is fishing a submerged grass line about 100 yards from where he won the October 1991 tournament here. His technique is familiar too.
I'm using a 3/4 ounce. I'm keeping the boat out here in about 12 feet and trying to let the big spinnerbait get right down to the top of the grass and kind of feel that grass all the way in. A lot of times on these real bright, slick days, they kind of bury up in that grass and you have to get something to go down in under the grass to get them. If you kind of look back in behind us, you'll see a lot of little shallow boat docks and buckbrush and stuff. I'm pretty sure that those fish spawn in there. And this is the first little grass line out from a real good spawning area. This grass line comes in and forms a little point right back, right back behind us, and those fish have been right on that little point, which is a natural place for them to be.
Yesterday, Zell Rowland weighed in the largest bass of the tournament, 8 pounds, 6 ounces.
Don't come off.
And evidently, he's onto a big fish pattern. He's caught most of his 57 pounds on a topwater pop-R. But with the bright conditions, the bass are buried in the cover.
He ain't got it real
Flipping
good.
a jig and trailer is more productive this morning.
You don't even know he's hooked yet. Come on, one. Right, and you're caught.
David Wharton is slow rolling a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait over submerged grass, but he's modified the lure.
I'm still using a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait, but what I've done, instead of using like a 4 and a 6 blade, I'm using a 3 and a 4. what you need to keep in mind, not only have the bass spawn, but so have their food sources spawn also. So basically, they're after a little bit smaller food than they were earlier in the year. So that's I guess you would say matching a hatch.
With a topwater Pop-R, Zell Rowland has slowed his lure action down.
I don't think he'll call one. I don't think he'll call it. Nope.
As a backup pattern, David Wharton switches to worm fishing around docks. And Zell Rowland has gone back to his big fish bait, flipping a jig.
He's a big one. Oh, I've seen him come out there. Boy, he ate it. He ate it, buddy. Oh, come on, baby. I mean, I've seen him come up out of there and go, whoop. I said, you just swim about 5 feet, buddy. Oh, talk to me.
Well, Zell, there are no guarantees in bass fishing tournaments, but that bag of bass has winner written all over it. Let's weigh him and find out.
He has 7 bass, all alive, 19 pounds, 10 ounces. Folks, there's your new leader right here, Zell Rowland.
Well, I got a feeling some of them probably caught them a little better. I had a chance to catch another 25 pounds today, and it just didn't happen.
Well, it did happen for somebody. Give him room.
Don't slow him down. All the fishing alive and well, 7 bass alive. Now, let's remember that he was in 3rd place with 77 pounds and 12 ounces. He got a chance to take the lead and take it clearly. Remember, he won the tournament here October last, when we were here a year and a half ago. Man, I'm gonna tell you something. How many bass did you catch you could have kept all day if you kept them all?
I didn't catch but 9 fish today. I really had a terrible day, to tell you the honest truth, of catching fish.
I'm so sorry for you. Let me give you something out of my pocket. All right, let's go. Let's weigh him. Hold it. Let's don't do any fool. Low. Watch it, folks. 29 pounds, 13 ounces. Mark it. Woo!
David Wharton blows everybody away. An incredible 87 pounds, 9 ounces, a new Bassmaster BP Top 100 record, and a winning margin of almost 11 pounds. Zell Rowland finishes runner-up with 76 pounds, 10 ounces. In the amateur division, the winner, David Hudson of Alabama, with a 4-day total of 48 pounds, 15 ounces. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters will be right back with champion David Wharton's pros pointer on his winning technique.
Watch it, folks. 29 pounds.
Right now, it's time for the pros pointer, the how-to section of the Bassmasters. Brought to you by Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man.
And one of the things you need to keep in mind when that's going on in a post-spawn situation is that not only have the bass spawn, but also their food sources spawn. So really what you need to do is kind of scale down your tackle to match the hatch, basically. What I did, this is a normal 3/4 ounce spinnerbait. You can see the big blade on it, a little Colorado in front, and a big willow leaf in the back. What I did, I went to a smaller tandem willow setup. Now then, also what I was doing here at Lake Murray, I was slow rolling a spinnerbait right over the top of the Eladia in Lake, and this tandem willow setup here, it comes through the grass a whole lot easier than what this big blade does. So basically I was doing 2 things here that helped me win this tournament. I scaled down the bait to match the food source, and then I also used the tandem willow so I could come through the grass a little bit easier.
David Wharton, still champion. What a performance, and what a grass bed. In 2 tournaments, David's won $92,000, most of it due to one special spot. Next week, our Bassmasters TV cameras follow the pros to the $190,000 Oklahoma Invitational at Lake Texoma on the Oklahoma-Texas border. You'll learn how the pros adapt to a tough early winter pattern. Join us right here next Sunday.